Welcome to today's Piece of Peace. Challenging all of us to stay in these, just a place of gratitude and thankfulness as we come into our day. I was worshiping God again this morning, and there was this chordal progression that He had me playing over and over again for about a month now. I would worship Him in the morning, and then He'd always close with this chordal progression that was sort of a plucking thing. And today He gave me lyrics to it, which I was so excited about. And I was just like, Lord, that's so nice. And I was definitely thanking Him for that. And I started to think about the other things that He wants me to have gratitude for. And part of that would be my trials. There's a couple relationships yesterday that had some trials in it. Trying to work through misperceptions, misunderstandings, judgments, and hearts, hurting hearts and wounded hearts, and just trying to address that. And I was writing out in my journal this morning, Lord, You asked me to thank You for my trials so that I can trust them to You and anticipate Your outcome for them. And so I wrote out the two relationships that had been a little heavy yesterday. And I lift those trials to You. I said, I wait in trustful anticipation of what You will do and bring about Your glory out of these relationships. I trust You, Jesus. Thank You for these trials. I rest in hope of Your capabilities. And then, because I've noticed when I've handed Him trialed relationships, and instead of trying to handle it on my own, He does something that's just so much better. So much better Your way. That Great Defender song by Rita Springer, it's just so much better Your way. Great Defender. I love that song. You should Google that, Rita Springer. Defender. It's an amazing song. So it's just so much better God's way. And when He gives me empathy and compassion for how somebody is perceiving things or understanding things, instead of feeling slighted, like, well, I would not. That's not who I am, and it's not like that. It's just sort of like you had this perception of me, but now here's where my heart was at, and has your perception changed, and can that bathe, and can my empathy bathe or soothe your perceived wounds, your wounds from your perception? But and I don't know how often you get into relationships where someone's basing their behaviors are responding to a perception of what they've experienced with you, and it's not a perception of who you truly are, yet that's how they're receiving it. And then how to reconcile, how to bring reconciliation. Jesus says, at all costs live at peace with one another. At all costs bear with each other's burdens and shortcomings, and forgive as God forgave you. And so as I was writing that, I was just like, Lord, help me rest in hope of Your capabilities. And it's so much better Your way. I was thanking for the chordal progression thanking Him for the lyrical content from the chordal progression, which He's titled it In Your Presence, which I love. And thanking Him for this time of my friend, whom I rarely get to see, but because she's been needing some help getting back and forth to see her mom in the hospital, we've had some quality drive time together. And for any other girls who have girlfriends out there, that is like a primo time, quality drive time, talking about life together. It's just been such a beautiful thing. And Lord, I need Your mercy and Your grace to help me to extend it to others. I definitely need that. So, there goes my alarm on my phone. Do you want to know why? Because it's an eminent like recording that says, yeah, you're going to be in curfew at 10 o'clock tonight again. So welcome to Minneapolis. Anyway, little sarcasm there. Welcome to Minneapolis. So the Lord is really telling me, Janelle, you need my mercy and grace so much. That is what is going to help you to extend it to others. When you understand what you can become without me, what you can become without my presence in your life, the choices that you could make, the just how fast you could fall if I wasn't here holding you up. Know your need for my mercy and grace so that you can extend it to others and dismantle your judgmental. Dismantle how you are judgmental. That is what brought me into my devotion today, which is going to take us into Leviticus. If you're not an Old Testament reader. This is out of Our Daily Bread again. It's written by Kristen Holmberg, and it's titled The Baggage Activity. But it's just 2 verses. Leviticus 19, 32, 3 verses, 32, 33, and 34. It says, rise in the presence of the aged. How many of us do that? Do you rise when an elderly person comes into the room? Do you rise when your father or your mother come into the room? Rise in the presence of the aged. Show respect for the elderly and revere your God. I am the Lord. When an alien lives with you in your land, do not mistreat him. The alien living with you must be treated as one of your native born. Love him as yourself, for you were aliens in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So, there was a piece that was back in Leviticus 19. It says, when you reap and harvest your land, do not reap to the very edges of your field or gather the gleanings of your harvest. Do not go over your vineyards a second time or pick up the grapes that have fallen. Leave them for the poor and the alien. I am the Lord your God. God was taking care of them by those that were native, not taking all of it, but leaving some behind for them so that they could have some too. It was interesting. The one thing that sort of stood out to me, though, was that they were gleaning, or they were pulling in the harvest for their families, but didn't glean again and left some good stuff for everybody. But they took care of their families first. Interesting. Taking care of ourselves helps us to care for others. And that's a good thing. It's a really good thing. Often I was told as a young mom, Janelle, you can't be a good mom to your children if you're not caring for yourself. Take care of yourself first, because then you're going to be able to take care of others well. Not from your emptiness, but from your fullness. Spend time with the Lord in the morning. Exercise. Eat healthy so that you can give that to your children. Work on your junk. Forgive people. Confess your sins so that your children can do that. You know, go to school and graduate from college so that your kids can do that. Pave the way for your children. Live a life like that. And this is entitled The Baggage Activity. And Kristen writes, Karen, a middle school teacher, created an activity to teach her students how to better understand one another, the baggage activity. In the baggage activity, students wrote down some of the emotional weights they were carrying. The notes were shared anonymously, giving the students insight into each other's hardships, often with a tearful response from their peers. The classroom has since been filled with a deeper sense of mutual respect among the young teens, who now have a greater sense of empathy for one another. Throughout the Bible, God has nudged his people to treat one another with dignity and show empathy in their interactions with others. As early in the history of Israel as the book of Leviticus, God pointed the Israelites towards empathy, especially in their dealings with foreigners and the poor. He said to love them as themselves, because they too had been foreigners in Egypt and knew that hardship intimately. Sometimes the burdens we carry make us feel like foreigners, alone and misunderstood. Even among our peers, we don't always have a similar experience to draw on as the Israelites did with the foreigners among them. Yet we can always treat those God put in our paths with respect and understanding that we ourselves desire. Whether a modern-day middle schooler or an Israelite or anything in between, we honor God when we do. Kirsten's charge was this: who around you might need your empathy for the burdens they carry? How can you love them as yourself? I was directly correlating this to the relationship issues that I had. They weren't really issues. They were just difficult things to talk about in two separate relationships. And the Lord was just like, who around you might need your empathy for their burdens they carry, and how can you love them as yourself? So I can have empathy. I can listen. I can respond with the same respect I would want them to give me. And I could speak truth. And I can be loving. My prayer was this: God, you know the weight in my heart, and you graciously unburden me as I put my trust in you. And as I did that today, I thank you for these trials, and I put my trust in you, and I wait with humble and expectant anticipation of what you're capable of doing with all of this, God. She goes on in her prayer: help me to offer care and compassion toward those in my life. So I'm learning that today. Empathy, care, and compassion in the relationships in my life, and for those around me, and for the less fortunate. So that brought me to Jesus Calling, which is Sarah Young's book. You can download that book online. She writes from the perspective of God speaking to us, and this is what today says: trust me and don't be afraid. Many things feel out of control. Oh, they do now. Your routines are not running smoothly. No. You tend to feel more secure when your life is predictable. Yes. Let me lead you to the rock that is higher than you and your circumstances. Take refuge in the shelter of my wings where you are absolutely secure. When you are shaken out of the comfortable routines, grip my hand tightly and look for growth opportunities. Instead of bemoaning the loss of your comfort, accept the challenge of something new. I lead you on from glory to glory, making you fit for my kingdom. Say yes to the ways I work in your life. Trust me and don't be afraid. And that is today's Piece of Peace. And God bless you.